What's it like to make over $1 million a month? I've actually had the pleasure of making over $1 million in less than an hour. I wanted to make this video because I actually saw a few other videos online about like the raw reality of making $200,000 a month, $500,000 a month, et cetera, et cetera. Some of them were pretty good, but I've had the pleasure of, or I guess the luck, the gratitude, whatever word you want to put inside of it, making $1 million a month multiple times, making $1 million in a day. But I think more importantly, also helping grow and scale over 1,800 businesses, anywhere from $10,000 a month to $100,000 a month to $500,000 a month to over $1 million a month. I've scaled a business from 0 to $6 million in just a few months with only 4 employees. And so like I've seen what it takes. I know the impact that it has. And I kind of wanted to share just my own personal experience. If you don't know who I am, my name is Ravi. I'm the founder of Scaling with Systems. And like I said, we've worked with a few thousand businesses, helping them scale. That's what it's called, Scaling with Systems. And so I've seen the good, the bad, the ugly. It's funny, when I first started in the online entrepreneur game, so I'm 29 years old right now, which in the online world, I'm literally like a grandpa. And when I first started, I was 25 years old, 24 years old. And I was actually planning on going to law school. My dad got diagnosed with stage 4 lung cancer. I ended up stopping the race to law school in order to take care of him. And in that time period, I had my first taste of like, okay, maybe money is not every single thing about life. I had definitely known that money makes things easier, but I was like, okay, before I dive headlong and go $200,000 in debt for law school, et cetera, maybe I should just pump the brakes a little bit. And I always say that my dad getting cancer was literally the best thing that ever happened to me. I'm super grateful he's been in remission now for a few years, but it caused me to like literally pump the brakes and be like, okay, is this what I want to go after? And I ended up actually buying an online course, and I was waiting tables at an Italian restaurant making about $2,000 a month in Atlanta, Georgia, when I built my first company, which is an advertising agency called Prospect Social. We serve real estate agents, and I made my first, $5,000 a month, $10,000 a month, $100,000 a month, multiple $100,000 months in that business. But one thing that you'll see as a theme inside of this video is that not all businesses are created equal. Not all money is created equal. So what I used to think was like, oh, that guy's making $10,000 a month. I wish I would trade lives with them. Or that guy's making $100,000 a month. I wish I could do what they're doing. They're making $1 million. They're making $10 million a month. I wish I could do what they're doing. But not all businesses are created equal. Not every revenue level is created equal. I, in some ways, was happier when I was making $10,000 a month than I am making over $1 million a month. Because at the $10,000 a month mark, I was still comparing myself to all of my friends who were making $2,000 to $5,000 a month. And now I'm comparing myself to all my friends that are making $5 to $10 million a month. And, comparison is like the thief of all joy. And I try not to, for sure. I definitely try not to. But I still remember when I made that $1 million in an hour, and we were planning on like, our goal was to do $500,000. And then this guy that I was working with, he was like, hey, I think we could do $1 million at this event. And so he kind of pushed me into like breaking my barrier. I was like, wow, $1 million in an hour, like at this pitch. And so we pitched it and I did it. And like the whole, we had doubled our goal. My whole team was going nuts when I got off of stage. And I just remember thinking like, wow, I'm happy we hit this goal, but I am also happy that my entire life has not centered around this one point here, because if I'm being honest, it was kind of a little underwhelming. It was like literally woke up the next day, everything was the exact same. If anything, I was more stressed out then than I was before, because now we had to deliver for everything that I had just promised on stage at the event that I had hosted in Miami, Florida. And so the reason I say not all businesses are created the same was because, when I first scaled my advertising agency, I was making a few $100,000 a month, but I really didn't enjoy what I was doing. I didn't like working with real estate agents. I didn't like running ads for them. I didn't like the agency world. It had definitely gotten me out of like pretty much what was poverty, but I didn't enjoy it anymore. And so that was when I launched Scaling with Systems, and we've made over $25 million in this business, and super fortunate to have worked with a few thousand people. But like, as we have grown and scale, the way that I see our linear path to get to where I want to go to, which is $100 million a year, I'm like, okay, it's not going to be doing the exact same thing we've been doing so far, because I don't think I can keep on doing what I've been doing so far, to be honest with you. The truth is that, as Notorious B.I.G. said, mo money, mo problems. It's like, now that you're making more money, you have to spend at least 20% of your year trying to figure out where you're going to put the money. And how are you going to try to save money on taxes? And then you also start to become a target for other people. You start, people that for the most minor things in the world, you'd never think of being sued, but all of a sudden people are now going to open up lawsuits because they see that you make money. Even previous like clients of yours that are potentially upset about something that you did, threatening lawsuits unless you do this thing over here. I mean, I've experienced it all, literally. And like, I used to think that like lawsuits and stuff only happens to bad people. Like, I would never get in a lawsuit. And it's so naive. It's like literally so. In the United States, it costs, I think, like $50 to open up a lawsuit against somebody else. $50, right? We're the most litigious country in the world. And so as you start making more money and you start getting more notoriety, you start getting a bigger target on your back. And it also comes with a lot of benefits, though. I will say, like, more money, more problems, there's no doubt about it. But more money also is a lot less problems, or I guess just different problems. Because although I'm going to maybe sit here and tell you about how making $1 million a month, the bad things about it, there's also some incredible things about it, right? So I'll list some of them for you. Number one, I have the fortune and the ability to be able to take care of my mom's rent. So my mom literally hasn't paid rent. I paid for her last year's rent. I paid her rent the past few months as well. And she doesn't ever have to worry about paying for rent ever again. I made that decision. I told her, and like that feels great to me because at her age, like I said, we were kind of, when I started my business, we were pretty much living in poverty. And so she was still working full time. And like, it was pretty common that she wasn't making rent, and it was really affecting her mental health, and it was affecting our relationship as well. And so I have the fortune to be able to do that. When my family members call me, I have very close family members that call me, and sometimes they ask for loans for their business. And I've been fortunate enough to give like literally $50,000 loans, $100,000 loans, $150,000 loans. And then people ask, like, can I extend it 6 months? Can I extend it 6 months, right? And so I kind of write that money off like I'm not going to see it again, but I'm fortunate to be able to do that. I remember speaking to my lawyer when I was giving a loan to one of my family members, and it was a $50,000 loan, and they had asked now to extend it 2 times. And I was kind of complaining to him a little bit. I was like, man, like, it's kind of frustrating. I'd love to have that $50,000 back. And he's like, man, you're right. I can see how that's frustrating, but think of how fortunate you are to literally be able to come in and help a family member in their time of need and not have to literally be like jamming down their throat that you need their money back like a collection agency was. Like, you literally save this person's life in some ways, because if it wasn't for this, they'd have to, like, their entire life would change because they would have to get rid of all these things that they've been used to, and they'd have to shut down their businesses and et cetera, et cetera. And I was like, wow, I actually had never thought of it like that. And that was like, that had kind of flipped a switch of the benefits of money. And in radical transparency, I do a few like charity work things, but I actually am much more of a believer in like impacting your close circle of people that you know, your team members, your family members, your like close family, people that you see on an everyday basis. Like, that's what I kind of prescribe to more than like giving money to people that I've never met before. I'm not asking your opinion on this. This is just, I'm telling you what I've done. And so making the money has allowed me to do that. Also, I live in a beautiful place in Miami, Florida. I want for nothing my personal life, which makes it so that I can, once again, focus more on building a business and like doing the things that I love to do. I got my pilot's license. I own a plane. We go on like unbelievable trips a year, things that would be like out of movies. Like, we go on these trips and spend an amount of money that people make in a year. I spend on like a week trip. And this is not me bragging about all this stuff by any means. This is me just saying, like, I spent some time on the negatives of it, and I kind of want to spend some time on the positives of it as well. And the other big thing is that when you make more money, you can also spend more money only working on the things that you want to do, and you can start having a bigger impact. So like, when I was first starting out, I was making just enough money that I literally just had to like keep on doing things that I hated doing. I would work with clients that I would never want to work with. I would say yes just because I needed the money. And then I was like just working until 11 o'clock at night, 12 o'clock at night, up at 4 a.m. because I needed the money. And now I'm at the point where it's like, cool, I can, if I don't like a client, I'll just refund them and go my separate ways. If I don't want to work with somebody because I feel like they're like kind of going to be a pain in the butt, we just say no to them. If I don't feel like working for 7 days, 14 days, I can just not work for, and I now started hiring people so that I'm only doing the stuff that I really love to do. And the cool part about that is that then you become even better at the thing that you're great at doing and you love doing. So then you make even more money, and then you can spend more time doing it. It's like this beautiful little cycle, but you kind of got to eat shit for a little while until you get to that stage. And money's transformed my life. I think it's Naval Ravikant where it's like, money doesn't solve all your problems, but it does solve money problems. And I will say, never having to look at the receipt, never having to look at the bills anywhere, never having to look at like when I go to the grocery store. And I know I know. It's like, I know people in the comment section, and like, I know you're out of touch with reality and blah, blah, blah. And I'm also not the most wealthy man in the world. Okay. I haven't made enough money that I couldn't just lose it all doing something dumb. So, you know, I still live with that fear all of the time, but this video is not what my fears are. It's just what is the reality of making over $1 million a month. And so, yeah, so like, that's for me, there's a lot of pros and there's a lot of cons to it. Looking back, like I had said, kind of the theme of this video, if I had to restart everything and do everything over again, I would probably start from day one. If assuming I had my skills and I had my brand and I had money, right? Which I know is like, if I had all the things that make my life great, I would just start with way more leverage. So one of the biggest things I've done in the last 12 months is I've just added a lot more leverage to my life. And that kind of goes back to only doing the things that you love. But now I'm only doing things if we can impact tens of millions of people without any more work on my part, right? So we just recently launched a product called Scaling School. If you want to, you can check it out down below. And I'm literally giving away stuff that I used to charge people $50,000 every 6 months for. It's inside of this product called Scaling School. And I'm giving away like $20,000 worth of gifts because we just launched it. You can check it out down below. And the reason I'm doing that is because although yes, it is amazing, and we still do serve clients at a really high level. We still, like I said, we work with almost 2,000 people on a one-on-one basis. What I realized was that is amazing, but once again, going back to what I want to get to, which is $100 million a year, I don't know if working one-on-one with enough clients to make $100 million a year is the business that I personally want to live. I don't think it is. I think it would be more like serving 65,000 people, but in a much more leveraged way, where it's not requiring so much of my time every single time I get a client. But you can only do that and make those connections when you have enough money that you're willing to play a little bit of a longer term game. So I'm at the point now where I can start looking, what do I want my business and my life to look like in the next 3, 5, and 10 years? And I'm only able to do that because I am okay. If I made no money this year, I would be okay, right? But I only did that because I had chased after the money from the very beginning to get to the spot that I'm at right now. So I'll leave with this, which is Naval Ravikant calls it the infinite game. And that's really where I found myself, playing the infinite game. I am no longer like in it for the money. I am no longer in it for this like end result. I'm just in it to play. That's why right now it's a Sunday. There's a Super Bowl going on right now. There is like, I worked all day today. And then I went to the gym, I came here, and now I'm shooting YouTube videos. Why? Not because this is going to make me a bunch of money. Okay. But because I just love it. I love the game of like, how well can I create this content and post online, and do people share it? And then do they eventually maybe join Scaling School and then work with us on a one-on-one basis? Like, but whether you do or you don't, it's, it's okay to me. I'm just here to play and learn and then iterate and then teach my clients what I've learned as well. And I thank God that I have switched the infinite game versus the finite game early enough in my life that I can also start focusing on the infinite game in other areas. For example, I have an incredible girlfriend. We've been together for 3.5 years now. And like, instead of this like finite game of like, how many women can I sleep with and how many dates can I go on and how much can I flex online on the gram for all this stuff? It's like, how much can I give myself and serve another person just because I love doing it? Like how much could I invest compound interest in another person just because, not for the end result, but just because the actual giving, the actual investment is the joy out of it. And then the irony of the whole thing is that when you start focusing on the infinite game, you get all of the material benefits that come from the finite game, right? Where if you focus just on the finite game, you may get some of the benefits of the finite game, but you sure as heck won't get the peace of mind that you'll get from the infinite game. So once again, I know that it's like some of this stuff was way over a bunch of people's heads, and I know that I sound probably like an asshole in some of the things that I'm saying here. So hopefully you don't get that. I am in a very unique experience where I went from literally poverty, $10,000 in debts, to where I am now, and also helping a bunch of other people do something very similar. And I've also realized that, not a lot of people have made $1 million an hour. I've realized that I would never want to go back to poverty again. I would never want to be poor ever again. But I would definitely never want to just go after the finite game. I would never want to just make money. And it just took me making $25+ million online in order to figure it out. So I guess this video is to save those that are watching this video the time from making maybe that same mistake. Anyway, hope it was valuable. If you guys want to check out Scaling School, you can go down below and click it and get all the free gifts that were given away at the launch of it. If you have a comment or you want to ask me any questions, be sure to do it down below, and I'll see you guys in the next video.